Are you thinking of getting a pet reptile? Are your kids trying to Jedi mind trick you into getting one? Maybe you're completely new to reptiles, or maybe you're a little obsessed like this guy.
Please help me.
Either way, you're in the right place. Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Balderrama. Now this is the first video in a 5-part series on do reptiles make good pets? So let's talk about why reptiles make great pets and why they don't.
Wally is a federally licensed emotional support alligator.
You're killing me, Smalls. First of all, I think reptiles are the coolest pets ever. Having a reptile is like having a wild animal as a pet, or a little dinosaur. With reptiles, you'll feel more like a zookeeper than a pet owner. With reptiles, you can be like the crocodile hunter.
You're absolutely gorgeous.
Or a magizoologist.
I'm more of a chaser, really.
Or a velociraptor trainer. Just make sure you treat them with respect. She's a clever girl, isn't she? Oh, you're a zookeeper, all right. Sorry to burst your prehistoric bubble, but reptiles are ectothermic, meaning they have very specific nutritional, lighting, and heating requirements. Do you know the nutritional requirements for a blue-tongued skink? How about the POTZ for a sulcata tortoise? What about the humidity requirements for a boa constrictor? If you don't know, you better learn, otherwise you're gonna have one sick little reptile. Since they're basically still wild creatures, reptile owners need to recreate their natural habitat in order for them to survive. So be prepared to take that 10-gallon tank and recreate the Amazon or the Australian outback. Yeah, good luck with that. Actually, designing and putting together a terrarium is one of the fun parts about owning reptiles. You can get super creative, and some of these enclosures can look really cool in your home. It's like having a natural history museum in your own living room. Sure, those terrariums look amazing, but trust me, they're not cheap. Even the most basic reptile enclosure can be really expensive. First, you have to buy the tank. And please, whatever you do, don't forget the lid. Then there's the lighting and the heat lamp and the UV lighting. And no, they are not the same. Ways to check the temperature and humidity, something artificial to make it look more natural, a place to eat, a place to drink, a place to hide, a place to get some sun, something for them to poop on, something to clean the poop up with, because trust me, you don't want to share germs.
Ew.
And then there's the cost of the food, because they gotta eat something. And no, you just can't go down to Costco and buy a bag of reptile food. And don't forget the vitamins and the calcium supplements, because there's no way you're reproducing their natural diet on your own. And if you think that's expensive, spoiler alert, you haven't even bought your reptile yet. Okay, good point. But for some people, they're the ideal pets. Compared to dogs, they're quiet. And they're great for people with allergies. They're not gonna leave hair all over the place like your cat. And when you sit down to eat, they're not staring at you with those sad little eyes, begging for you to give them something to eat. You know, like your kids. Speaking of kids, you better think twice about owning a reptile if you have a child that's 5 years old or less, or someone who is immunocompromised. Many reptiles carry salmonella, and trust me, you do not want that. Remember, salmonella is not your best fella, and you thought Chipotle was bad. Another benefit to reptiles is that they don't require a lot of time. Reptiles can be great pets for busy people. Depending on the species, you only have to feed them a few times a week. And some species, like snakes, you may only have to feed once a week, or even less. You don't have to clean their cage every day. And if you have to leave town, they should be fine on their own for a few days. Just find a neighbor you can trust to come in and turn the lights on every now and then. Yeah, that's not good. Well, that's fine if that's what you want in a pet. With some exceptions, reptiles don't show affection to their owners too much, at least compared to a dog or even a cat. And let's face it, some cats are jerks. Unlike traditional pets, it can be hard to bond with a reptile. Can't go on walks or take it to the park. And you might not believe it, but many of them live in constant stress. Many of them are, give me food, leave me alone, I don't care if you exist or not. You know, kind of like living with a teenager. Well, if you want to bond with your pet, dogs and cats on average can live into their teens. But some reptiles can live for decades. Decades. That's a long time to have a pet. But the good news with a reptile is you're never gonna come home to this. Aw, isn't he adorable? Or have to replace the furniture thanks to this little fluff ball. And speaking of fluff ball, with a reptile, you'll never have to come home to this.
That's nasty.
And if you have a dog or cat, before you buy a reptile, you may want to make sure they're going to get along. You don't want to come home and find out that your new reptile just ate the cat. Uh-oh, better call a vet. Speaking of vets, you can find a good dog or cat vet anywhere. But what about a good reptile vet? It may not seem important, but does your current vet know the difference between a panther chameleon and a veiled chameleon? Do they know anything about inclusion body disease? What about mycoplasmosis? Or are they just gonna treat every little thing with Baytril? A good reptile vet can be hard to find, and yes, they can be expensive. If you're gonna seek out a vet with extra special skills, then be prepared to pay extra special prices. It's how it works, folks. You get what you pay for. Fortunately for reptile owners in my area, they know who to go to. But hey, now I want to hear from you. What kind of reptile are you thinking of getting? I would love to hear your answers, so let me know in the comments section below. So what did we learn? Do reptiles make good pets? Well, maybe. It really depends on what you're looking for in a pet, but I really hope this video helps you to decide. If nothing else, at least you learned there's always going to be someone weirder than you. Hey, did you like the video? Well then click on the like button and subscribe. And remember, sharing is caring, unless it's salmonella. And don't forget, this is the first in a 5-part series. Go check them out and I'll see you in the next video.